All right. We're talking about something very, very important. And like Pastor Lee said, bring your Bibles, bring this, bring that. I am really trusting that this church is going to catch the memo here. What I'm trying to teach here every week, I'm not trying to get you to it. I'm not trying to get a message to you. I'm trying for you to catch a truth. The kingdom is not a message. It's a truth. I'm an ambassador of a kingdom trying to get you this. If you understand this truth the way you need to, you will not have any more. I don't want to say problem because you're going to always have problems. Problems will never end. But you will have this ability to overcome every problem. Because there are people that with this mistaken idea that they are going to arrive to a place where it's going to be no problems. Jesus told you in Matthew 16:33, in this world you will have many tribulations, many. But be of good cheer because I, he says, overcome the world. So it's not about getting to a place with no problems. It's about the ability to overcome problems as they come and still win and rejoice even in that problems being around us. Keeping on rejoicing. So it's not about having a place where there are no issues. Now, these truths here I'm going to teach are very important, and they're practically need to be exercised. If you don't exercise them in a practical manner, you will not see the fruits of it. You see, you've been in church for a long time and you'll be wondering, where is God? You hear me talk about testimonies here, about what God is doing in personally in my life, and we talk about these things, and sometimes it looks like, oh, it's happening to you because you are a pastor. Listen, it doesn't happen because you're a pastor, because I know pastors that ain't got nothing. They need help. So it's not about being a pastor. These things are the truth of the matter. I've said to you many, many times, the things in the Bible are not religious. When you see born again, it's not a religious name. When you hear tongues, they're not religious. Kingdoms have got tongues. Kingdoms, people have to be born there to be citizens. That's why you were born there. Now that you're a citizen, you need to understand how this works. That's why we're talking about kingdom economy. How does the economy of heaven work? Because I'm telling you now, the countries of the world are struggling. I don't care where you go to. You can say, let me go to the USA. USA has got one of the highest crime rates, United States, and yet they say it's got the best governmental organization, but yet it's reeling with the West of the West, man. I mean, those people are so woke in the USA that anything you say, they don't even want you to say the word Father. They don't even want you to refer to God as Father in certain places. If you say God is God, if you refer to God as Father, they call you sexist. They said God is not a man. There are places where in the USA where people divorce their parents. You can go to court and divorce your parents and tell them, I don't want these parents anymore. And they can give you a divorce. What laws are those? Who wants to be in that country? People are talking about the American dream. What you don't know is the dream you've been shown is, who wants the American dream? Who wants to be like Didi, raping young stars and beating women? Who wants Didi's dream? I do not want Didi's dream. Excuse me. Who wants that place? People talk about, it's the dream. What does it mean? Family, let me tell you something. We cannot define wealth. The world defines wealth. What is wealth? What is kingdom economy? That's what I'm talking about. Some of you said you're talking about money. You came this week and last week when I was teaching about this. But that's not all I teach about. But it's important to teach about the kingdom economy because you are in a country. I've taught you numerous times. When you're born again, you came into a new country. Every country has got rules. When you leave South Africa and go, the moment you enter the USA, there are rules there. If you don't know how the rules work in that country, you can love the country, love the president, but be broke in that country because you don't get wealthy by knowing the president. You get wealthy by understanding how that economy functions. You can know God, you can love God, and God is king of this nation. But knowing God is not enough. You have to know the principles and the working parts of that kingdom so that you can become everything that you are designed to become. You need to know that you can buy without money. And you need to be able to know how to make these things work in a practical manner. I mean, the wells are reeling. You can go even to Australia and those places. I mean, man, it's not what it used to be. You saw floods right now in the USA. 191 people last week died from flooding in the USA. You go to communist China and you go there. You know, China has got some of the poorest people in the world. China. No country. We can get their clothes here. You buy Shein and you buy Temu and all those things. And let me, not everybody in America owns Shein and Temu. There's a lot of poor people. They stay in villages. They live on rice, and there's no place in the world. Things are coming in this world to a standstill where people are going to suffer. But those that have come into the kingdom and those that are learning principles will survive in a powerful way. You must understand. Don't say, I don't come to church because I am busy. I've got this, I've got that to do. You know, you need to be in church even when you are not in need, because you are receiving deposits. Those deposits are necessary when you need to withdraw. If you're not in church because you feel your life is fine, the day will come when you're told 3 months to live from cancer and you've got no withdrawals in your spirit and you die even loving God. You have to be able to learn this thing so that when the time of trouble comes, you are ready. Now, we've been talking about this economy, the kingdom economy, and we've defined an economy as it's really how a country produces and consumes goods and how it supplies services and supplies money to its people. Heaven has got exactly the same way. It supplies to its people. But why are people not seeing it all over the world? Because people are not seeking God. One of the conditions, Pastor Lee read it nicely, Matthew 6:33, but seek. To seek is to analyze, to examine, to explore, to inspect, to investigate, to scrutinize, to probe. That's what seeking means, is to literally spend time seeking. My question is, from Monday to Saturday, what do you spend most of your time really seeking? You went to church on Sunday, you did your duty, but that's not enough. How much are you seeking the scriptures and seeking and analyzing the word of God and examining it? You know, you can come to my house many times if you want, just randomly. You will find me many times. I am in my books. What am I doing? I am scrutinizing. I'm exploring. I'm inspecting. I'm investigating. I am probing the kingdom, because God said, if you can probe the kingdom first, if you can go into the Bible and spend most of your time in there analyzing what my kingdom is all about, if you can do that first, he says, all the other things you need will be given to you. Prince Charles, King Charles now, he's got two sons, and those sons, when they were born into into the monarchy of England. They don't need to work one day. All they need to do is to run with the business of the kingdom. When the other youngster Harry divorced, and he said he doesn't want the kingdom anymore because he married a young lady, from Cape Flats. What's her name? Meghan Markle. He married a girl from Cape Flats, Meghan Markle, and this girl said she didn't want nothing to do with the queen and with the family, and she said, let's divorce from the family. Now that boy Harry, he has to find out ways to survive. That is why you see they got these podcasts and that they do. I mean, that's how they're getting money. Now they have to work for something that they were getting without working. While it's William, all he needs to do is to obey his dad. If he obeys daddy and seeks daddy and does everything that daddy says he should do, he does not have to work one day in his life. Everything he needs is given and is added unto him. Why? Because he's made up his mind. He's going to make the kingdom the most important thing in his life, not his boss. There are many people not in church this morning and many other churches not here. They did not come because the boss wants them to work. You are seeking the boss more than the kingdom. That is why you have to work so hard for the boss to survive, because when you seek things more than God, those things become your God. Seeking means you are the first thing I do in the morning. The first place I go in the morning is not my coffee machine. The first place I go in the morning is my prayer room. After I pray first and read my word first and go into my scriptures first and go into my confessions first, then I go and drink my coffee. You see, I will not like coffee in the kitchen if I put first those things. I have to be. See, many people are saying, what business can I start? What can I do? They are looking for the thing, but they have not really got to a place where they are seeking God first. Seeking means you are my everything. You are my all. I need to find out about how you work. I need to find out about how you do things. I need to find out about how your economy works. I am going to give my all to find out. I'm going to spend money on books to find out how your kingdom works. That's seeking. Seeking is not coming to church on a Sunday and going to sell on a Thursday. It is saying whatever is to do with you, I put it first. I'm going to put going to sell will be automatic. Coming to church will be automatic for a guy who puts it first. Any drunkard who puts drinking first, going to the bar is automatic for him. Because he puts drinking first. Now, I never drank, but I know some folks here in the church that used to be wine beavers. You know, there used to be wine beavers. And whenever they go somewhere, they'll think of their wine first. You know, that's the thing. That's why God compares himself like even to, it talks about the new wineskins because a drunkard gets hooked on it. When you are hooked on it, that's what you think about. You can go into a room and everybody starts talking about girls and about, did you see this chick? And, many people will tell you, many people know Bonang and about Bonang. They've got more Bonang knowledge than the father. They know everything about Pearl 2C and about, did you hear what Pearl 2C do? They know all these actors more. They know everything on TV. They know all the soapies on TV. They watch every omnibus. They know this actor and that actor and that actor. They are so well versed on those actors. They can go on TikTok. They know every person that goes on TikTok. They know the names. They know who they are. They've got information about that. Watch what they are seeking. Whatever you know the most is what you seek the most. Think about it. Their time is there. We are seeking these things. We are in the spirit. And then you wonder, why is my finances not working? Why is it? There are some of you that are in a test. You just need to pass it so that you could be on that place. But I'm saying that many of the times, the majority of born-again children of God are suffering in many areas because they have not sought God. They seek everything else but God. God is more important to me than my wife. If my wife plays like Eve, then it's a problem for me because she has to honor God first in my house. Adam listened to his wife and he fell. Jesus listened to his father and he saved his wife, the church. You see, so I have to make a mind. Some people know soccer and rugby players. They can tell you Cheslin Colby, and they can tell you this is Sia Kolisi, and they can tell you what Sia Kolisi did yesterday, and they can tell you Sia Kolisi's wife and his children and how old they are. You can ask them about soccer players. There's this stack of cards where people walk around with all soccer players on it. People play that crazy aid with it, They've got the soccer players. They will tell you all the soccer players, and God says, when sickness hits your door because Satan has hit your door, you can't pull out that soccer player and say, I know whatever his name is, because that guy ain't God and he's not going to help you from that because they've not served the kingdom first. You can't just pull out a soccer player. You can't pull out Sia Kolisi. When the problem comes, you're going to have to make up your mind. That's why I said this is a practical word. I'm going to have to make up my mind. I'm going to seek God first. When I seek God first, I see his economy. God will give you cars you didn't have to buy. Believe you me, you do not have to afford a vehicle. Ask my wife. We live that life. We do not buy cars because we've got the money for that car. We buy a car because the king chose the car for us. How does he do that? When you spend enough time with him, you can hear him direct you to that thing. You will literally drive. We are directed to a property on the other side of Novongo, which you own now. We drive. Well, I'm not going to stay there, so don't get excited. Say, pastor is moving there. No, I'm not. It's just a spare home there. We're directing. Ask my wife. I told you I don't wait for God this year. If it's 2-3 years ago, and the Lord begins to say to me, man, what can I do for you this year? I want to give you something like he did to Solomon. I want to give you some houses. What do you want? Then I said, take a draft. I took a draft to a place where we'd never really been before. We did not know anyone there before. We drove and we found an agent. We said to the agent, just show us anything you have on the market. This agent took us to the place. Isn't that so, Lizzo? We drove to the place, and as we drove there and we entered this gate and we go to this place, we didn't know how much the place costed. We didn't know who owns the place. We didn't know how much they wanted. We drove in front of that place, and as we drive there, Lisa and I smiled, and we heard the voice of the Lord. Watch here from within. This is your place. We did not know. No, but we didn't even know what it costed. And watch this. It's been our place ever since, because about 2-3 weeks later it happened and it was our place. Oh, Pastor, I want to hear God that way. You can't, because if you don't seek him to the level that I'm seeking him, his voice won't be familiar enough to hear. We've got a cheat code. It's called the voice of God. That's my cheat code. It's like, so, but it comes seeking God first. What do you make priority? What are you making priority? My relationship with my wife is not priority. My relationship with my kids is not priority. My priority is him. If I can love him, I'll know how to love her. And if I can love him, I know how to love my kids. And if I can love him, I know how to love the church. And if I can love him, I know how to forgive everybody and become a pastor who does not have any hang-ups. What you see is who I am. Not involved in the old wives' tales. That's why personally is not involved in old wives' tales. I'm telling you, you can come in the issue, you could be in other places, but here, the woman here is not involved in old wives' tales. What we know is to love the Lord. Our biggest ministry is not this church. Our biggest ministry is not preaching on the pulpit. Our biggest ministry is seeking the kingdom first. That's our biggest ministry, listen, at our home, is seeking. We can play, sometimes we put some people that we love here on there are certain preachers that God said, listen to, who would put them on while we fall to sleep with the preacher preaching in our ears. While we are sleeping, we wake up and return. Someone is preaching. Why? Because even in my sleep, the word is going into my spirit. Why? Because we've made up my mind. We are going to seek the kingdom first. Because I can watch Beyonce the whole day, but Beyonce ain't giving me nothing. So I'm going to go into the word and I'm going to spend my time in the word. So to seek is to analyze, examine, explore, inspect. I need to go in there. How does money work in the kingdom? Is tithing so? Is tithing biblical or not? Go explore. Don't wait for the pastor to tell you, because you will think the pastor is trying to dupe you from your hard-worked money because you haven't explored from your side. So you're going to have to explore. Seeking the kingdom is really a place where we have to investigate. Sometimes I investigate. Sometimes the Lord will tell me things and I'll investigate. And say, Lord, is it really you? One day I wanted to buy a vehicle, then I heard the Lord speak to me and he says to me, because I was looking for a cheap vehicle that I could afford. Then the Lord spoke to me loud and stern. He says to me, if you buy that vehicle you want to buy, you will buy it. And I don't want you to ever complain about anything in that car, because you chose it. But if I give it to you, then I'll give you something that you never complain about. If I give you. But if you want that, you can have it. But if I give it to you, then I'll give you something you're never going to complain about, where you don't have to open any door. The doors must open on their own. Because I was complaining with the other, and I said, Father, so that means I have to jump here and open the door over there. And I'm not in that mode. I was already complaining about that car before I bought it. And I was already thinking about it. And I said to the Lord, when I travel, I need a fridge. Like one of my cars got a fridge inside. I said, I need a fridge when I'm traveling because I don't like to drink my stuff hot. I'm an ambassador. Everything must be cold and cool. And I said, I need a fridge. So then the Lord said, if you want, you can buy that one without a fridge. It's your choice. But I want to give it with everything so that even when you travel, you got a fridge, so that you don't complain about everything. Then I said to the Lord, but my King, this car is not, I can't afford it. He says to me, well, who told you anything about affording? Are you not the one teaching the kingdom? Didn't you say to the people, if you seek me first, I'll add? And watch this. God added it within a day in a miraculous way, in a supernatural way. It was added in such a powerful way that when it was added, the guy at the dealership told me, I've been in this dealership for years. This is the first vehicle, a Muslim guy, I have ever sold the easiest. He said, this is my easiest ever sale. You know why? Because God did it. I'm not so that is why I would not drive a car stressed because I didn't buy it. With yours, you'll be thinking, when it's on the 22nd, the 25th installment, oh my God, Jesus, please, God, oh, Father, please, help me, Jesus, make sure. On the 24th, if the money hasn't come in, the tummy is turning. It's you can't eat, you are angry. Every time you get a different version of somebody else, they need to see God. You mustn't get a different version of somebody at home and a different version. Every time you get another version of somebody at home, something wrong there. Amen. So when I was praying and I was seeking God some months ago, and I was praying and I was seeking God, And I was praying. While I'm walking in the lounge, I'm praying. I'm not praying to want anything from the king. I'm just seeking the Father. I'm praying. Suddenly I heard, and I looked around, but it was in me. I heard, would you like a jet for ministry? A jet? I thought a toy one. Do you know how much a jet is? Looking at about 32,000 US dollars, 32 million. Would you like a jet for my king, so that you can fly and preach to kings in my own? Immediately, I just said to the Lord, let your will be done. God went to Mary, who was 13 years old, and the angel descended where Mary was and said to Mary, Mary, thou shalt be pregnant with a child, and his name shall be Jesus. Mary had not slept with a man. Mary had not known a man. Mary was still a virgin, Virgin Mary. That's why I call her Virgin Mary. She had not known a man. She had no idea how babies are made. But when the father came and said, I'll give you something you cannot make on your own. Can you make a baby without a sperm? Mary said, yes, sir. As you called it, so shall it be, Father. Guess who made her pregnant and gave her the baby? Not her own efforts. Most of you are still trying to work on your own efforts, thinking you're working hard is what will make it happen. I will never buy a jet because I can't afford it personally. But I'm a son of a very, very rich king. He owns gold, man. And when the time is right, when the ministry is at that level, he will provide what I need. Amen. So he says to me, look on the internet and see what you like. Then I'll show you. Then I looked, and I found it. And right now, I walk around with that jet in my phone. That's right. There's my wife. Oh, it's quiet in this presbytery. Because see, we're still trying to talk of selling pancakes to meet God's vision. It's got nothing to do with a man. It's got everything to do with seeking a king. He is the one that tells me things. He is the one that tells me, do that. Don't do this. When God is quiet in my life about certain things, is either testing something but anything that I'm on my own with Pastor Lee, anything that is just us, I've noticed he will speak to me constantly. Do that. Even when buying on this building, we didn't have a cent to buy this building. When we bought this building 7-8 years ago, the Lord said to me, spoke to Pastor Lee and said, this building. When I was driving to this building, I heard the Lord's voice. Go stand on this window. Go take the soil. Speak to the soil. There's someone I said to you, say breakthrough. Says to me, speak to the soil. And tell the soil where this building is sitting. Tell the soil, building, be removed from this soil and be plugged into Wellington and Lizzo's name in the church. That was the words we were given. I took the soil. I looked at it. I spoke to the soil. With the picture where we're speaking to the soil. But how can speaking to soil give me the building? For it, I don't know how Mary gets pregnant without a man. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? And I don't know how a black cow eats green grass and produces white milk. No clue. I just believe the Father. I'm talking about seeking first. There are churches that are still in classrooms for years because they're trying to sell pancakes, puri patas, Punjabis, and all samosas. Listen, we will never have a raffle sale in this building. We never do a raffle to raise money. But you're going to see us build an auditorium that costs R1 billion. That is it's a smart building. I'll cough, and the stage will move forward. It's got AI. It's got Siri in the stage. Siri will move up. It will do. What is that? Oh, Pastor, you got that money. What? You are more seeking money and concerned about money. That's why your concern is not on the charity, on the health. Yeah. Your concern is on the king. If money is your God, you can't give it. You can't even tithe because you want money so much you can't give, even though you love God. So you hold on to it. And the more you hold, the less, because you can't have two masters. You're going to have to let go and let God. Yeah. Yeah. You can say whatever you like. Me, I give, I don't like. As long as you can't tithe to God. Tithing is not to give God money. Listen to me. Your tithe doesn't pay my rent. Because if I tell you where I want to stay, I'll finish your tithe in an hour. Do you understand? Done, gone, the whole church. So tithe doesn't look after me. Because God knows that it can't afford me. So, your tithing is not for God. It's for you to see, do you really trust God with everything you have for you? When you don't, you are scared to lose. That fear is what is holding your breakthrough and everything you are believing God for. You keep on struggling every month because you keep on holding all the time. And if when you give once, you can't give again, because when you gave once, you paid the rent late and you thought it doesn't work, isn't it? Because when you did it, you were not believing it. You did it as a law. But when you do it because you believe it and it's in you, something begins to happen. You no longer struggle. Let me tell you, people that don't tithe, the demons of your parents is in your life right now, I can guarantee you. Stopping you. You don't tithe what you feel, you tithe what is right. And when you tithe what is right, and it looks like you don't have fuel or whatever, but then you seek, some people tithe but they don't seek first God, and they think money will do everything. Money won't do everything, believe you me. Money won't give you everything you need. But when you tithe, and then you appear before the Father in a seeking manner, you shall be like a fountain, a spring of water, whose waters never runs dry. Kingdom versus democracy. I want to show you how in the kingdom of God, the way God is going to bless you. Some of you will be billionaires here with what I'm going to teach you here now.